Okay. Okay. Thank you all. My name is Raja Kaskurti. I am regional coordinator from New Jersey region, Thana regional coordinator. And this tax session 2021, cut and crash your taxes. Anil Grandi Gauri is going to do the presentation. And then you guys can ask any questions related to tax in the chat room. So we can answer those questions at the end of the presentation. Thank you all for joining for this at this late evening. I know like a lot of people in the southern region like Texas and some parts of US are having like severe cold weather and they are unable to join. We are going to record this session and we will upload into the Thana YouTube channel. Please check it back once this presentation is done. We will upload the video sometime tomorrow. Okay, thank you. And I would like to introduce Thana Executive Vice President Anjay Chaudhary Laugaru to talk about Thana as well as this session, how it is going to be benefit for our community. Anjay Chaudhary Garu, please say a few words.
Yeah, thank you, Raja. Can you see me and hear me good? I'm outside.
Yes, and
okay.
Yeah,
okay. I apologize. I had to be outside, but yeah. Once again, thank you, Raja, and good evening, everybody. And we have a long cherished relation with Anil Grandi. So we have, collaborated with him, and he did many webinars through Thana Forefront that helps the community in need. So once again, heartfelt thanks to Anil Grandi, and of course our entire Thana leadership and our President Jayita Alluri, and especially our core team members for this session, Raja Kaskurti and Sumant Ramsetti. And coming to the point, let us all make sure we utilize this seminar for our 2020 taxes, and hopefully this would really benefit you all, and didn't want to take more time. You all have a good session and a good evening. Thank you. Over to you, Raja.
Thank you, Anjay Garu. Thank you for the nice words. Thank you very much. Anil Garu, I don't have to introduce Anil Garu. Anil Garu did a lot of tax sessions earlier on Thana platform about the PPP loans as well as the stimulus packages. And before December also, he did a couple of tax webinars on Thana platform to how we can leverage the IRS rules to benefit our community here. Anil Garu, please go ahead and present it.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anjay Chaudhary Garu, Raja Garu, and to all the leadership team of Thana. I am so privileged to collaborate with Thana, and I have been for the last 1 year. I have been giving so many webinars, and it's my. I am glad to share that I asked with all those delegates here. Thank you very much. And today's topic, tax season. Now our tax season started, and you all might be getting ready to file your tax return. You might be an individual, you might be a business owner, but still you need to file a tax return. So this tax season is applicable for everyone, whoever is earning money in the United States of America. So we'll get into the season, and I hope in the next 1 hour you will learn some takeaways. You will be taking some takeaways from this webinar. So today's content is a bit more extensive. So I try to make it much faster. So because really I want to help the individuals and also the business owners at a very high level. So, and if you have any questions, feel free to post your questions in the chat box. So in this presentation, whatever I am sharing, those all are only my experience is what I am sharing here. And please work with your tax advisor or tax return preparer or CPA before any of the strategies or recommendations. Whatever I'm talking today, they are only at very high level and generic. So most of the people it might be applicable. So before you get into this topic, who am I? With whom you are talking today? So this is what about me. I have 15 years of experience as a CFO, finance controller, and other finance position. And I worked in Amazon, Starbucks, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and Sun Edison. I have a team of CPA, chartered accountants, and other finance professionals. Even my articles are published extensively in a lot of media. My articles, you can find it in the Forbes, you can find it in healthcare industry, you can find it in restaurant industry, and CPA industry, CPA magazines, and you can also see a big playlist of all my weekly TV live shows, which I associate with TV Asia Telugu channel. So you can go there, you can find a lot of important topics. Every week, we talk on a interesting topic. So now we'll get into the topic. What are the due dates to file your tax returns? So there are two due dates are there: March 15th, April 15th. Many of you guys might be confused also. March 15th is for the business owners. If you are a S corporation owner or if you are a partnership owner, then you need to file by March 15th. And if you are an individual or C corporation owner, then you need to file the tax returns by April 15th. You do also have an option to extend the due dates by 6 months by filing an extension. But the extension is only for filing a return, but not for the not to pay taxes. It means you have to pay taxes by April 15th, and you can file an extension by 6 months if you are not yet ready with your tax return. But I strongly recommend to file your tax returns at the earliest possible, because you get more time of your tax return preparer or CPA to review your tax returns in more detail. So first I'll start with the basics. So 2020 income tax bracket. We are filing now 2020 tax return. So every one of you, whoever is attending the webinar today, has to come in any one of these tax brackets. The tax brackets for the 2020 starts from 10% to 37% tax bracket. So if you are filing married filing jointly, and if you are earning less than $19,750, you are in 10% tax bracket. But if you are earning more than $622,051, you are in the highest tax bracket, which is 37% tax bracket. And this is only federal taxes. There might be state taxes also, based on which state you are living. But on average, 5 to 7% is what the respective average state tax returns, state tax rates you need to pay. Whatever income you make, you get a standard deduction, which is $24,800 if you are filing a married filing tax return. If you are filing as an individual, you can claim $12,400 as an individual tax standard deduction. If you think if your expenses are more than if you think your expenses are more than $24,800, then there is one more option. It is called itemized tax return. And you do also for every kid, if they have an SSN, you get $2,000 tax credit you get for every kid if they have SSN number. If you have kids but they don't have an SSN number but they have an IT number, you can get $500 for every kid. If you have a dependent parents, $500 for every parent, you can get $500 for every IT number. If you are earning a capital gains, most of our Indians, we invest money either in the real estate or in the stock market, most of them. If we have any excess money, we go and invest there. So in both the scenario, either stock or real estate, if you sell, if you sell any of your assets, then you result in capital gain. If you need to pay taxes, if you need to pay long-term capital gain taxes, you are either in 0%, 15%, or 20%. So what is 0%? If you are married filing jointly and if your income is less than $80,000, your tax rate is 0 on your capital gain taxes. You don't need to pay any capital gain taxes if you're married filing jointly less than $80,000. But if you're the same married filing jointly, if your income is more than $496,600, then you need to pay 20% tax rate, 20% tax bracket. You are in 20% long-term capital gain tax. On top of this, you also may need to pay net investment income taxes, which is 3.8% on qualified dividends and also capital gains. So 15% plus 3.8%. This is an average. This is the minimum capital gain taxes you need to pay on your long-term gains. So as I was saying, if all your deductions are more than $24,800, then you can go for itemized tax return. What is an itemized tax return? As per the IRS code, they categorize all the deductions into 5 buckets. List down all your expenses into these 5 buckets, add all these 5 expenses, all 5 categories, If it is more than $24,500 and if you are married filing jointly, then you can go for itemized tax return. The first one is SALT. SALT is the property taxes, local and state tax. If all this together, you can claim these expenses under this category, but the maximum amount is only $10,000 in this budget. Number two, medical and dental expenses. Unfortunately, if you have a lot of medical expenses at your home, it might be some surgery, procedures, accident, or maybe some other medical reasons. And if your expenses are more than 7.5% of your adjusted gross income, then you can claim those medical expenses on top of those 7.5%. Then the very important and most popular is mortgage interest deduction. You might have mortgage loan on your home. You can claim mortgage interest as a deduction under itemized tax return to up to the maximum loan of $750,000. There is no limit on interest amount or interest percentage, but there is a limit on how much loan amount you can have, how much mortgage loan, which is $750,000 if you got the home after December 15th, 2017. If you bought the home before December 15th, 2017, then the maximum loan amount is $1 million. To that extent, if any interest you pay, that amount you can claim it as a tax deduction. Then charitable donation. You go and do in general in day-to-day life, we might have given many charitable donations. As long as you give it for the 501c charitable organization, non-profit organization, you can get those receipts and you can claim it as a deduction. If you don't go for itemized tax return, then technically you are not able to claim your charitable donations as a deduction when you file your taxes. And if you have any natural disasters at your place, then if you incur any expenses because of maybe floods, tornado, or maybe fire accidents, or any natural disaster happens at your place, and if you incur any expenses for that, those expenses also can be categorized. So all these expenses together, if it's more than $24,800 for this year 2020, you can go for itemized tax return. Then you can claim more deduction. So just I want to include extend one explanation here, mortgage, because this is a very frequent, more frequently I get these questions. Apart from your mortgage interest expenses, you can also claim mortgage points, late payment charges, prepayment penalties, and 2 primary homes you can claim as a mortgage for your mortgage homes. 2 primary homes, not rental homes or not investment homes. You may have a vacation home, or you may have a home at India. If your parents are living there, or you are only using whenever you go to India, and if you have not given that house for the rent, then you can claim any interest if you are paying on the mortgage loan of the property in India. Then we cover the basics. Now I want to talk about COVID tax impact provisions. Because of the coronavirus, in the last almost a year now, government declared as a natural disaster because of the coronavirus. They brought in, government has took so many initiatives and brought in trillions of dollars of money into the economy to help individuals and businesses. In the last 1 year, there are so many changes and initiatives, grants, loans are being announced by government. So now we will see in the last 1 year, what are the things happened and how it has an impact on your individual taxes. The first most popular is rebate check. So in the month of April, you might have received some $1,200 per person in your home, and for your kids, $500 you might have received a check in the month of April or May of the last year. That is called as rebate check round 1. And again in the month of December and January, you might have received second round of funds, rebate check. For every one person, it's $600. If you are married filing jointly, $1,200. For every kid, $600. And you can get this money, full check amount if your income is less than $150,000. If your income is more than $150,000, what happens? It starts phasing out. For every dollar, for every $1, 5%, every $1, 5%, it starts phasing out. So for every $100, 5%. So you might receive the full amount, you might not receive the you might receive the partial amount, you might not receive at all. If you are eligible, but if you are not received round 1 and round 2 check, you are eligible but not received, don't worry. When you file your 2020 tax return, you can claim these amounts if you are eligible. So it's nothing to worry. And you got money earlier, the last year, but now you are not eligible because your income substantially grown. Do you repay my check? No need. If you get this money, does it have any impact on my immigration? No impact. No, even you are on H1B, or you are in your green card is in process. You don't need to worry. There is no impact on your immigration process. So, and whatever money you got, do I need to pay taxes now? Not required. You don't need to pay any taxes on the money, whatever you received in the last 1 year as a rebate check. If you are a business owner, this is a very useful provision for you. If you are a business owner, if you go to the restaurant, if you incur any expenses towards the meals at the restaurant, to meet your customers, vendors, suppliers, or employees' expenses, maybe some get-togethers. Earlier, till last year, we were able to deduct only 50% of the actual expenses. But now we were able to deduct, now we can, for this year and also for the next year, we can deduct 100% of your expenses can be deducted when you file your tax return. But this is only for the 2021 and 2022. But this change has come because of the COVID. And charitable donation. In general, whenever you do the charitable donation, unless you file itemized tax return, you cannot claim any tax deduction. But for this year 2020, there is an option. Because of the COVID, they extended this support. Every person can give up to $300 to any charitable donation in cash, and if they get the receipt, they can get this $300 deduction in the year 2020. If you are filing jointly, but still it was only $300 per return. But for this year 2021, they extended this. If you are filing jointly, they made it $600. So you can get $600 deduction when you file your 2021 tax return on top of what you are on top of your itemized tax deduction. This is called above the line charitable donations. And there is one more. In general, whenever you do a charitable donation, you can do the contribution only up to 60% of adjusted gross income, and you can get it as a tax deduction. But now, because of the COVID, they extended these provisions. You can do the donation up to 100% of your adjusted gross income. You do also have an option to contribute more than 100% of your income, and you can carry over these deductions to the next year. The very important one, very popular one in the last 1 year, PPP loan. You are eligible for the PPP loan if you are a small business owner. If you are a Schedule C tax return, if you are filing a Schedule C tax return, you may be eligible to get a PPP loan if your number of employees are less than 300. If for the PPP2 and less than 500 for the PPP1. And if you are self-employed, I specifically discussing this slide here because we have so many self-employed people in our community, and many people might be attending now. Self-employed means what? You might be a real estate agent, you might be a photographer, you might be a financial advisor, you might be a freelancer. If you are filing a tax return by showing your business income under Schedule C, you are eligible to apply for PPP loan, which is a completely forgivable loan. And you can get up to 2.5 times of your, if you are running a business, if you are an employee, you can get 2.5 times of your monthly average pay as a PPP loan. And if you use the money for the given purpose, your entire money will be forgiven. If you are self-employed, still you can get the money based on your Schedule C. Whatever Schedule C income you have, divided by 12 into 2.5. Many small self-employed individuals or people whoever has side gigs, they are missing this great opportunity. This program will be ending on March 31st, 2021. Please don't miss this opportunity. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help you, guide you. And whatever money you get as a PPP, it's completely tax-free. 100% tax-free. All expenses can be deducted. And for the PPP, if you got some $100,000, if you received $100,000 as a PPP loan, and it is forgiven now, what to do? Excellent. You don't need to pay even a single dollar taxes on the forgivable loan. So it's a great opportunity. And FFCRA, First Family Corona Response Act. If you are impacted because of the COVID in the last 1 year, if you are self-employed, you can claim these expenses. Sorry, you can claim this support from the government. If you are a business owner, any of your employees got impacted because of the COVID, you can claim $511 per day to the maximum of $5,110 for the 2 weeks paid sick leave if you are giving any paid sick to your employees. And if you are if your employee is not directly impacted because of the COVID, but he has to take care of his family members, then still you can claim those deductions. He can take a leave as an employee. You can give the paid leave to the employee, and you can claim $200 per day to the maximum of $2,000 you can claim from the IRS. So how do you claim? When you file your quarterly tax return, you can claim these expenses. Sorry, you can claim this credit. Deferred payroll tax extension. By any chance, if you have opted to defer your payroll tax payments, during August 2020, Trump has signed a new order saying that from September 1st, 2020 to December 31st, if you have to pay any payroll taxes, every employee is obligated, as long as the residents, they need to pay 6.3% as a social security tax. But for the period September to December, there is an option IRS has given saying that you don't need to pay now, but you can defer it and you can pay it by April 30th, before March 1st, 2021. But now they extended these timelines to December 31st, 2021. So if at all, if you opted this one to not pay, sorry, to defer your payroll taxes, now you have more time to pay your payroll taxes. Healthcare and FSA. So if you have an FSA account, if you do any contribution to the FSA, generally you get a tax reduction from it. But you have to use this money by December 31st, 2000, by end of this year, by any year, end of the year. But last year, there were no school, no daycare. If you contribute anything for FSA, generally most of the people use it for daycare expenses. But there are no daycares at all last year. We were not going to any offices. Most of them were working from home. If at all, if you didn't send your kids to the daycare, if you didn't spend your money, and if the money is left over in your FSA account, don't worry. You can roll it over to the next year, that is 2021. If you do any contributions for 2021, and if you're not able to use it by December 31st, nothing to worry. You can roll it over to the again next year. Student loan. If you have an employee, who has student loans, you can pay them and you can get it. You can get a tax deduction in your tax return. And the beauty here is, for the employee, it is not taxable income at all. Medical earlier, as I was explaining earlier, under itemized tax reduction, and you can, if your medical expenses are more than 7.5 times, 7.5% of the adjusted gross income, you can get deduction. Earlier it used to be 10%, but now they've made it permanent change to 7.5%. And very important one, retirement plan. Because of the COVID, IRS allowed to withdraw up to $100,000 from your retirement accounts, IRA account, 401k account, any other retirement accounts. And when you withdraw money, in general, you need to pay 10% penalty. early withdrawal penalty. But now, because of this COVID initiatives, you don't need to pay any penalties. However, you need to pay taxes on your withdrawal. And they do also, they have given one more option. If you repay the money, whatever you have withdrawn, if you repay the money within 3 years, you don't need to pay any taxes on your retirement withdrawal. So I strongly recommend everyone to not use your retirement funds, because the purpose for the retirement funds are completely different. They are very useful when you actually retire. If you start using the money now, you will lose a lot of opportunity to grow your retirement fund. So don't withdraw. If you have withdrawn, I strongly recommend you to please repay it back to your retirement plan. And very popular now, after PPP, the most popular one is employee retention tax credit. If you have not yet claimed for the last year, you may be eligible for the employee retention tax credit. So how much you are eligible? So you may be eligible up to $5,000 per employee. You might, if your business is impacted by 50% or your business was shut down because of the government regulations, you can claim $5,000 employee retention tax credit per employee in your entire company. If you have 50 employees, $250,000, you can claim it as a credit when you file your tax returns. This is a very great one. But for the year 2020, your business should be impacted by 50%. But 2021, the rules are slightly changed. If business is impacted by 20%, you can get tax reduction. You can get a credit up to $7,000 or 70% of your wages for the Q1 and also Q2 of the 2021. If your business is down by 20% compared to the 2019. Can I apply for both employee retention tax credit and PPP? Answer is yes. Earlier, last year, you cannot apply for both. So if you're still thinking if you're a mind of, hey, I cannot apply for both, it's wrong. As per the new act, you can apply for PPP round 1, PPP round 2, and employee retention tax credit also, as long as you are eligible. Eligible rules I covered already earlier. So if you're eligible, then you can apply. Okay. COVID related, we are done. So we covered the basics. We also covered basics, and we also covered about COVID impacted taxes, coronavirus and your taxes. Now, getting into tax planning. In this world, nothing is certain but death and taxes. Benjamin Franklin. This was a very valid statement still few years back, but it was beaten by Amazon. Amazon net profit was $11.2 billion in the year 2018, but they paid zero tax. This is the New York Times article. Trump paid $750 in federal tax in 2017. How it is possible? When we are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 of taxes, when we are paying, how only bigger guys are able to not pay any taxes? I am not saying that you also pay zero taxes. There are opportunities available. If you design your business model accordingly, then you may be able to save a lot of taxes. What is the basic difference between tax planning and tax preparation? In general, whatever you are doing now to file your tax return, tax preparation is the process of preparing the tax returns for the submission to the IRS. At the end of the year, you prepare a tax return, which is a template given by IRS. Go and fill the numbers as per your W-2 or as per your financial statements. But tax planning is a process we need to do before the year end or before filing a tax return. Tax planning is a process. Okay. So tax planning is the process of looking at person's life, business, and regulatory requirements to legally reduce the taxes. There are many ways how you save taxes legally. The only thing is you need to spend time and find out how to save taxes in a legal way. There are many ways, which we are going to discuss few. As long as they're legitimate, you can use those strategies if they are applicable for you. So many people ask me, if I save taxes in some way, is it not crime? Is it not a problem? Will IRS come back to you? Answer is no. Taxes can be saved in two ways: tax evasion, tax avoidance. If tax evasion means where the taxpayer deliberately avoids disclosing, wantedly, intentionally, if you're doing something wrong, it is called tax evasion. But if you're doing something right in a legitimate way, in a legal way, that is called tax avoidance. So tax avoidance is valid as long as you follow the Internal Revenue Code, as long as you follow the section number, applicable case laws, you are good. But many people think, oh no, it may not work for me. I may be in the problem. Audit may come up. No, those statements are being given by the old school accountants. No, that's it. There are many ways how you save taxes. Its only thing is, if your accountant is not supporting you, tax accountant is not supporting you, CPS not supporting you, change the CPA. Go to the person who is proactive, not reactive. Now I will start with tax saving tips for individuals. Health savings account, very popular one. If you don't have a health savings account, you might need to think. This is a very basic one. If you are healthy and if you have a high deductible plan, you need to have health savings account. Why do I need to have a health savings account? Whatever money you contribute to the health savings account, up to $7,100 if you're filing jointly, the entire amount is tax deductible. If you are in 40% tax bracket, you are saving approximately $2,800 in taxes. It means you are not paying to the IRS. The $2,800 you are saving in your bank account if you contribute $7,100 to your HS account. But for this high deductible health plan is mandatory. If you have some medical problems, then it might not be the right plan for you. And health problems. If you have some health problems, it might not be the right program for you. And there are three advantages with this triple tax advantage. When you contribute, you get a tax deduction, and it grows tax free. You can use this money to invest in the stock market, real estate, or bonds, mutual funds. You can invest, and it grows tax free as long as you use, and you can, all the withdrawals are tax free as long as you use it for the medical purpose. This is a medical purpose. HS account is health savings account. All money will be completely tax free and it grows tax free. Don't miss this opportunity if you have a high deductible medical plan. You can contribute to the HSA account before you file your tax return, even for a year to last year. What I have hundreds of clients from Amazon, Microsoft, and there are many other bigger companies. When I look into their tax returns, I notice they have an HSA account, but they don't do the contribution. If you don't do the contribution, what is the purpose of having an HSA account? Maximize it, $7,100. And this money, HSA account balances can be used next year. If you're not using it this year, don't worry. You can use it next year. By the time of retirement, you can use it. Meanwhile, you can use this money to invest in the stock market. Why do you want to miss the opportunity? You have to optimize $7,100 contribution for HSA account. Then I'm getting into the retirement plans. Very popular one, 401k. I do get a lot of questions on this. Whatever you contribute to the traditional 401k account, you get a tax deduction from it, and it grows tax deferred. When you withdraw money, you need to pay taxes. This is called traditional 401k account. Many people tell me, why do I need to contribute? I don't want to contribute because I may want to go back to India. Otherwise, I don't want to start saving money now. I don't want to lock my money. No, these all are wrong myths. So these all are myths. First of all, please do the matching up to the employer. Whatever your employer is doing, any matching, 3%, 5%, forget about whether you want to go back to India or not. First, go and do the matching for that. And after that, I strongly recommend to contribute up to $19,500 for your tax deduction. And you do also have one more option. It's called Roth. When you contribute to the Roth IRA, Roth 401k account, you don't get tax deduction, but it grows tax free. And the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, to 40 years, our investments will be multiplied. But when you withdraw money at the time of retirement, it's completely tax free. Go and open your 401k account and see how much money you have in the 401k account. 200,000, 400,000, $500,000. Entire money is not your money. If you touch the money, you need to pay taxes. 30%, 40%, whatever the tax rate at that time. Rather, why can't you build Roth 401k account? A beautiful tool. You don't need to pay any taxes when you retire. So there are different parameters we need to consider, whether you need to contribute to the traditional or Roth based on what income levels you are, how much time you have for the retirement. There are parameters. I'm happy to answer. If you have any specific questions, reach out to me offline. I'm happy to recommend you based on your situation. How much amount I can contribute? You can contribute up to $19,500 for your 401k account. If you are more than 50 years, you can contribute up to $26,000. And you can withdraw this money after 15.5 years. And if you withdraw before, 10% penalty. If it's an IRA, you can contribute $6,000. And if you are more than 50 years, you can contribute up to $7,000. Please note, many people ask me, I have a 401k account already in my company. Can I contribute to the IRA? Answer is yes, you can contribute to both. If your CPA tax accountant saying that you cannot contribute to the both, he is wrong. Please, he doesn't know the basics. So please contribute $6,000 to IRA account. But please note, there are limitations on whether it will be tax deduction or not. You can contribute, but you may not get a tax deduction. If your income is less than $124,000, if you're married filing jointly, and if you're filing both both are working, then you will get a tax deduction. If your income is more, then what to do? Still, I recommend you to contribute. I will tell you what to do. So, but if you can contribute directly to the Roth IRA account if your income is less than $206,000. If your income is more than $206,000, married filing jointly, you cannot contribute to the Roth IRA account directly. But you can contribute to the traditional IRA account, but you don't get any tax deduction. Then why do I need to contribute? I'll explain that. So, explain. Okay, sorry. Why do I need to contribute when if it's more than, if I'm not able to get the tax deduction, why do I need to contribute? I recommend you to do backdoor Roth. Contribute at the traditional IRA, $6,000. Even your wife is not working, you can contribute $6,000 for your wife's name also. Contribute $6,000 for you, so $6,000 for your wife. Convert into the Roth the next day. It is called backdoor Roth. If your income is more than $206,000, you cannot contribute to the Roth. So what? Go the backdoor. The concept itself is called backdoor. It's not a straightforward, it's a backdoor. Still you contribute it and you get a tax deduction. What is the advantage of having Roth? Build the Roth funds. I do also have a separate, you can go to the YouTube and look on my exclusive live show. I recorded live show on this, how to become a tax-free millionaire with Roth IRA account. The most powerful instrument IRS has. If any of you guys who are attending this webinar doesn't have Roth IRA account, they are missing a great opportunity. So you can start saving the money as soon as possible, completely tax-free. And apart from that, there are a lot more, many other tax time retirement benefits or retirement accounts are there. Solo 401k account. If you are having a side gig, if you are a self-employed, like photographer, architect, financial advisor, or real estate agent, if you don't have any W-2 employees, and if you don't have a solo 401k account, you are missing a lot. You are paying a lot of taxes to IRS. This is my favorite solo 401k. If you are eligible, if you are a small business owner, if you are eligible, please have solo 401k account. You can contribute up to $57,000 as an employee and also employer. You are the employee. You are nothing but employee. You are the employer. There are different calculations which I'm not going through now. SEP IRA. This is a last minute tax saving tip. For solo 401k, you should have an account by December 31st. But now, before filing your tax return, you can open a SEP IRA account and you can do up to 25% of your income. You can contribute up to 25% of your compensation. You can contribute to SEP IRA account. You can do the 2020 contribution before filing your tax return. So if you have done some good business last year, if you have some income, don't miss this opportunity. Then backdoor Roth, as I was saying that you have an option to convert from traditional IRA to Roth IRA account. If you don't have a Roth IRA account, don't delay. Tomorrow morning, open Roth IRA account. You can open it with Vanguard, TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, anywhere you can go online, you can go and open Roth IRA account and traditional IRA account. You should have both. Charitable donations, which I was telling, feel free to do some charitable donations and you get a tax reduction for that. And now business owners. Okay. Again, if you are a small business owner, if you are a self-employed, if you are a solo proprietor, or if you are a single member LLC, when we start a business, what we do? In general, we open an LLC and we start doing the business. But by optimizing the legal entity structuring, you can save taxes. If you have a single member LLC and if your income, net income after all your expenses, net profit is more than $50,000, I strongly recommend you to convert to S corporation. On S corporation, you don't need to pay Social Security and Medicare taxes on your net profit from your business. By when you should do it? Before filing your tax return. Okay, by March 15th. By March 15th, that before filing your tax return, S corporation tax return, you can opt in for the last year also. Effective January 1st, 2020, you can do it now before March 15th. And if you are a small business owner, if you bought a vehicle, you are eligible to claim depreciation. Even you got your vehicle on your own name, still there may be a possibility. Check with your accountant to claim this depreciation. Otherwise, you can even transfer your vehicle to your business name, title transfer, and you can claim depreciation. If you got a big vehicle, maybe Tesla X, BMW i5, Honda Odyssey, you might be able to claim 100% depreciation in the year you bought. So many of you might have bought vehicle last year. I know that because of the COVID, you might not. But if any of you got a vehicle last year, you may be eligible to claim depreciation last year. If you're buying a vehicle this year, you can claim the depreciation this year. And business deductions. So if you are a small business owner or if you are self-employed, you can claim all these expenses: home office, travel expenses, meals categories, hiring children, depreciation, healthcare strategies, accountable plans, startup cost, laptop, supplies, laptops, desktop, monitor, web camera, lights, research and development, tax fees, legal fees, research, attorney fees, camera, furniture, office furniture. If you bought any of these items and they are legitimate for your business, they can be claimed as a tax deductible expenses when you file your tax return. If you are because last 1 year, if you are a business owner, you might work from your home. Why can't you claim utilities, insurance, HOA, security, mortgage interest, property taxes? All those expenses can be claimed as a home office. But of course, there are limitations how much percentage you can claim. All those different parameters, different rules are there. And if you travel for your business purpose, you can claim those expenses also. All these expenses can be claimed only if they are legitimate. I am not encouraging anyone to do some fraud or do a mistakes. I'm asking you if it is legitimate, if you have all the supporting documentation, you can claim these expenses if you are a business owner, small business owner.
What percentage?
Okay, it depends on how much space you are using in your home. Like home office expenses. If you are having 10% or 20% based on in your home, you need to use your home exclusively. You should use it only for your office purpose. If you can, if you can show that exclusive and regular, you should use both. You should meet both the conditions, exclusive and regular. Then you can claim. It can be 10%, 15%, 20%. But please don't claim 50% or 100%. IRS will come back to you. Anything as long as you do that legally, legitimately, we are good. When we try to misuse something, you will get caught. So see how many benefits you have. You have the business. Convert your passion into the business. I was working full time in Amazon. I converted my passion of serving in the finance industry to small business owners. I quit my full-time high-paying job and I started my business. We are one of the fastest growing accounting firm and tax firm in the entire US. Convert your passion into the business. See how many expenses you can claim if you have the business. You can do it only when you have the business. If you are a W2 employee, you will not be able to claim any of those expenses. And home office deduction, as I was saying, exclusive and regular you should use it to claim the home office deduction. And the very good one, my favorite one, hiring children. We have teenagers. If you have a teenager kids, it's an opportunity for you to train your kids at home. By the time they go and hit the job market, you make them already trained, make them entrepreneur. There are so many entrepreneurs at the age of 12 years, 13 years, 15 years, multi-millionaires are there. Bring them habit of accountability, responsibilities, and the ownership. There is a lot of possibilities you can do only if you have business. As long as you can prove they are using your, I meant to say, make them work for you. Don't pay free money to your kids. Make them work for you. You the work, you the assignment, FB, Facebook management for your business. Open a Facebook page, ask him to manage it. Ask him to, they can do the work like home office shredding, office cleaning, or there may be some data entry work, or maybe taking care of the incoming calls. Like example, for me, this is a tax season. I might be getting so many calls. So let my kids handle those calls if they can. But you need to build the documentation what they're doing. And the beauty here is whatever you pay to the tax, whatever you pay to them up to $12,000, you don't need to pay any taxes. The kids doesn't need to pay any taxes on their income, and parents can get a complete tax deduction from their business tax returns as an expense. And this can be done only if you are LLC or sole proprietor. And if you are having a corporation, there is a separate process you need to follow. It's a time, considering the time shortage, I'm not following it. I'm not explaining it. So, but no FICA taxes, no withholding taxes, no unemployment taxes, no income taxes, no state taxes, no federal taxes if you hire your kids. No labor law rules applicable if you hire your own kids. So don't miss the opportunity to train your kids at your home. And as I was saying, you can use the kits. You can use it for home office documentation work, some shredding work, admin work, marketing, media posting, managing your website based on what age they are. And it should be under 18 years to enjoy all those benefits. And the other advantage is make them self-reliant if you start by giving some work to them. Bring them entrepreneurship skills. Teach them and build business and entrepreneurship skills. And my favorite point, whatever money you pay to them up to $12,000, they can contribute to the Roth IRA account. They can build tax-free wealth in millions of dollars by the time of retirement. And the other one, pay your spouse. If your wife is not working somewhere, or even if she's helping you, get her involved into your business. It's all about family business. Make everyone to work. Take their help. If whether maybe some documentation work or maybe some marketing work, pay some nominal small salary and do contributions to 401k from them, from the whatever money. Like example, my wife doesn't work outside, but she helps me. and I pay some salary, and we both contribute to our 401k accounts. And up to $21,000, $500, I can pay salary to her, and she can contribute to $19,500. She can contribute to 401k, and completely the net, there is no much taxes she needs to pay. So plan, and you need to work with your tax accountant to design this plan. Don't do it blindly, because when you implement it, there may be something you are missing. It will backfire on you. You need to work with a what I call the skilled person to implement all these strategies. So then capital gains on capital gains, saving taxes on the capital gains. If you are owning a home, and if you sell your own home, if you leave your primary home, if you're living in your home for the last 2 years, the last 5 years, and if you sell your home up to $500,000, if you're filing jointly, completely tax free. If you any capital gains on your property up to $500,000. If you don't know this, if you want to upgrade your home, go to the better home, sell your home. You don't need to pay any taxes. It's completely tax free. You are building a tax free wealth here. Tax loss harvesting. If any of your stocks are, if you're investing in the stock market, any of your stocks are in loss, in red, sell them. Sell them, book the loss. Those losses can be adjusted with your other capital gain. And you can buy the same stock again, but after 30 days only. That is the point here you need to know. You can buy the stock again, but after 30 days only. And there is one more rule. You should not buy this stock before at least 31 days before. So if you bought the stock 30 days before, you can sell it now. If it is the rate, you can buy the same stock again after 1 month. If you have any losses, if you have unknocked off losses, capital losses, that can be adjusted with your W-2 salary. Up to $3,000 per annum, you can deduct. And if you have any more losses, you can roll it over to the next year. Every year, use 3,000 every year. You can adjust with your W-2.
But then, Anil, I have a question here, Anil.
I think it's better we take the questions on the last. We are running late.
Sure, Anil. Yeah, thank you.
So 1031 exchange. So 1031, if you are a real estate investor, if you have any long-term capital gain, if you have any capital gains on the sale of your real estate properties, you can reinvest your entire capital sale proceeds into some other real estate property. And this has to happen within 180 days. Then you don't need to pay taxes now, but you are deferring your taxes to some other day. So you are instead of paying to the taxes to the IRS, you are reinvesting on some other real estate property, and you are getting benefited. So this has to be executed within 180 days. You have to work with a 1031 exchange experts in this field. And if you still have capital gains, okay, the 1031 is only for the real estate property. If you have a stock market, if you have capital gains from a stock market, then what you do? You can invest in qualified opportunity zone funds. What they do, generally they get the money from the public. They invest in a land or solar businesses. They bring the value. They bought a low income area. They bought a land. They bring the economic value. They increase the economic value of the land, and they will sell it. So, but the thing is, I'm not going in detail, but you need to hold this investment at least till 2026. Till the time you don't need to pay any taxes. So I'm not going through in detail considering the shortage of the time. So there is a lot of content I'm trying to cover. The last topic, FBAR and FATCA report. Very important for our Indians, because we all hail from India. You might have a lot of accounts, bank accounts still in India. We might have insurance policies in India. Are we reporting them to our IRS and Treasury? If not, there are a lot of penalties. Many people think, hey, I have not yet reported till now. Shall I start doing it now? Please do it now. But based on, there may be some precautions which you want to take, but I will explain when you need to disclose this. FBAR means foreign bank account reporting. I will explain this. So if you have any financial interest in any foreign financial accounts outside of US, you are obligated, mandatory to file FR to Department of Treasury. And when, if the value of the total funds in foreign financial accounts are more than $10,000 in any calendar year at any point of time, even it was there for even for 1 minute in your bank account, you should do it. And it is not one, it's an aggregate. You have 10 accounts, combine all those 10 accounts. So here, who is responsible? Any US resident, citizen, aliens, H-1B visa holders, for EADs, H-4 EADs, citizens, green card, all are responsible to do this FR reporting. What does the definition of the financial account includes? If you have any bank account balances in India or in any other foreign country outside of US, it can be NRE account, NRO account, savings account, customs, term deposit, saving deposit, stock brokerage accounts, mutual funds, any stocks, any shares in any private companies, or insurance policies. Most of us might have insurance policy because LIC is so popular in India. So if the cash value of the policy is more than $10,000, what is the cash value? If you hand it, if you surrender your policy now, how much money you can get? That is called cash value. You can get this cash value by logging into your account, online account, or you can check with your agent. He will help you. So if all these accounts together, if it's more than $10,000, it is 7 lakh rupees. If it's more than 10,000 rupees, you have to file FBAR. And what is the due date? You need to file this FBAR by April 15th, and it has an automatic extension of 6 months, which is October 15th. And if you don't do this, if you don't file this, there are civil penalties and criminal penalties if you are doing willful not disclosure. So it is not worth of skipping. It's only an intimation. Don't think much. Disclose income. If you need to pay taxes, pay the taxes. Sleep peacefully. Don't get into the problems. We came all over from different countries to work here. Just be in compliance in United States of America, so that you will have a happy and peaceful life. And if you have more than $10,000, if you have more than $100,000, if you have more than $100,000 in foreign financial accounts, then you are obligated to file Form 8938. If you don't know, if even you have some $100,000 money in your bank accounts or all assets together, financial assets together, you have to file Form 8938 along with your tax return. And if you're not filing it, if you don't tell to your CPA or tax accountant, they don't know. It's you are obligated to inform them. If you're filing married filing joint, $100,000. If you're filing individual, it's $50,000. And it is so much to remember. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer now. But after that also, forget what to do. Every week, every Wednesday afternoon, 3 p.m. PST, come onto my Facebook page, open your camera, scan this, and come onto my Facebook page. I go on live. I go on YouTube page live, Facebook page live. 1 week I talk about exclusively tax planning. It's a webinar series. 1 week I talk about COVID stimulus packages, PPP, ERTC, employee grants, grants, incentives, shuttered grants, whatever it is. Or anything COVID related, 1 week I cover this, 1 week I cover this. Every Wednesday, same standard time, 1 week taxes, 1 week COVID stimulus packages. So you don't need to worry if you get it when you're filing your taxes. You got a question, what to do? Come to my Facebook live on Wednesday, come and ask me, I'm happy to answer. And the most other important thing is the Biden proposed tax policy. There is a tremendous and substantial tax changes are expected to come this year because of the Biden. So the current tax rates may go up from 37%, the maximum, the highest tax bracket, 37 to 39.6%. And corporate tax rates also going up from 21% to 28%. These are the proposed tax policy. It has to be approved by the House and it has to be approved by the President. So get ready. You need to start planning for this proposed tax. We are planning to have one more webinar exclusively on Biden proposed tax policy in the next couple of weeks with Anand. So don't miss this. Start planning on this. And as I was saying that, start doing the tax planning for this year. You may be thinking by doing the Google search, you think you can save this much of taxes, but by working extensively, by working with the right tax planner, you can save taxes considering all COVID related benefits, COVID related new tax act, FFCR act, state tax, all these new acts together, you can save a lot more taxes. Don't underestimate how much taxes you can save. There may be a lot more opportunity. So, and we are also offering free personal financial planning to all my clients. I will go through everything, tax planning for you, where to invest how to do tax planning, where to invest your money, estate planning, life protection, retirement planning. In 360 degree, we are offering a free tax planning to all my clients. You can send an email to me. I'm happy to schedule a meeting with you. And we are also offering a 15% flat discount if you file taxes before February 28, 2021. Just call this number and we will take care of you. Everything is online. You don't need to go to anywhere. That was the old generation. You have to go to the CPA center, CPA office, or tax accountant office and get the work done. No, everything is online here. We use encrypted security portal and we offer a free personal financial planning for every client. We do also client IRS and state audit defense. IRS notices, we will take care of you on 1040 tax returns only, individual tax returns, and identity theft restoration. So if what happens if your SSN number is compromised, don't worry, we are there for you. We will take care of everything. You don't need to pay even a single dollar extra for any of those services. And reach out to us. You can send an email. If you're ready to start, we can send an encrypted security portal. You can start uploading the documents. Come on, hit the ball. Or you can call this number. We are happy to onboard you and we start working on this. And this is the last slide. You can schedule, if you are a business owner, there's a lot of opportunity. Why do you want to miss the same taxes? Schedule a meeting with me. Open your barcode and schedule a meeting with me. I'm happy to, otherwise just click on this, open the URL and type this and you can schedule a meeting with me. One-on-one free tax planning. I will not be charging anything for my free tax assessment for the business owners. I do also have a separate WhatsApp group for COVID related updates. If you are a business owner, I strongly recommend you to scan this and you can become a part of my WhatsApp group. I have few hundreds of business owners who are part of my group. I keep updating them on real-time updates. PPP loan, new COVID, employee retention tax credit. I'll keep posting them. And I have written a book with 90+ tax saving strategies. You can download this booklet. You can read. Any questions, I'm happy to help you. Any more help you need, call this number or send an email to this. I'm happy to help you. Open to the questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anil Garu. It was a very great session. I have quite some questions here in the chat room. I will go one by one. Okay, this question is from Gangadhar. I am planning to open LLC for trading purposes. Can you please throw some light on how we can save on taxes for future tax years, not 2020 though?
Okay. In this webinar, I have not included one stock trading related because considering the shortage of the time, if you are an active stock trader, there is an option called trader status. So if you go for trader status, you can have a setup. You can set up an entity and you can save a lot of taxes if you opt for trader status. But you are supposed to do the trading throughout the year on regular basis, either part-time or full-time. Then you can claim a lot of expenses, maybe training expenses or any other miscellaneous expenses, travel expenses, home office expenses, anything related, trading related business expenses, you can claim them as an expense if you have a trader status. Coming to your question, you want to open an LLC? Yes, you can open an LLC to do the stock trading. But please note that you are not allowed to claim any of the expenses because stock trading is considered as a passive losses or passive income. No expenses can be claimed as a expenses. So you can, if you want to track your expenses separately in an LLC, definitely you can do it.
Okay. And the next question is, are we eligible to get the stimulus check?
Okay. You may be eligible if your income is less than 100. You will get the full amount if you're filing jointly, and if your income is less than $150,000. If it's more than $150,000, every $100 increase, 5% you lose. So maybe after $185,000, you might not be getting anything. If you are eligible, but if you are not received, you can claim this when you're filing your tax return. You just need to work with your tax accountant.
Okay. And the other question is, first stimulus check not received. Are we eligible to claim while filing tax?
Yes, you can, provided if you meet the requirements.
Okay. And the next question is, how to cover dependent child care expenses? Due to pandemic, we are not able to consume those expenses from DCSPA.
Okay. So that's what I covered actually. You can roll it over to this year, but you have time till December 31st, 2021 to use your expenses, to use it for your maybe daycare or any other expenses. So the balance will be rolled over to this year. That's all. But it will not be rolled it over again to the next year. But up to this year, yes, that's the only option they have given to all dependent care FSA contributors.
Okay. Is it possible to put money in IRA until April 15th to save on taxes?
Yes, you can contribute, yes, until April 15th. You are right.
Okay. Please throw some light on FBAR, especially how tax is calculated on interest on Indian PPF account, LICs, and savings NRE, NRO accounts.
I think regarding FBAR, I covered whether you need to file your tax returns, whether you need to file FBAR or not, by what date. But consider the income. Okay, FBAR is only disclosure. You are informing to the Department of Treasury saying that, hey, I have some balances in India or some other country. In this account, this much of amount. But when you declare it, you also might, at the same time, you are also supposed to declare those incomes. If you get any interest income, you are also supposed to disclose it in your regular tax return, which is reported on IRS. So FBAR is different, IRS tax return is different. So when you report something in FBAR, you don't need to pay any taxes. It's only a disclosure. But when you disclose your income, interest income, maybe on the PPP, Public Provident Fund amount, or maybe on the fixed deposit. If you declare any interest income in your tax return, you are supposed to pay taxes in US. But if you are paying any taxes in India, those amount can be claimed as an international tax credit. And coming to the LIC policy disclosure, you don't need to pay any taxes. You don't get any income, correct, on LIC. So it's only disclosure to Department of Treasury. You don't need to disclose anything to to IRS along with your tax return, unless your total financial accounts are more than $100,000 in the last year.
Okay. Please suggest any good sites for opening IRA.
Okay. So I have my account with TD Ameritrade account. So you can go and open with anyone like Vanguard or Fidelity. I mean, you have an option to invest in the stock market. So stock market, mutual funds.
Is it mandatory to report foreign property to IRS? If I bought a property 5 years ago but want to report to IRS now, would there be any problem? Would they ask why it was not reported till now? Okay.
When you have a property, you don't need to disclose. When you have a foreign financial account, you have to disclose. I included what is the and if you have a bank account, if you have a fixed deposit, mutual funds, stocks, those things have to be disclosed. If you have some real estate property, you don't need to disclose it now as a property. But if you make any income there, if you are getting a rental income, you have to disclose. If it is not a material amount, I strongly recommend to report from now. At least now, bite the bullet. You have to bite the bullet at some point of time. Start doing it now. But if there is a substantial amount, if you are not disclosing a very big interest or rental incomes, then I wanted you to amend your last 3 years tax return. so that IRS will not come back to you. Because before they come to you, you go and do your amendment so that you will be in the safer hands.
Sorry, just a question. Will it be okay to disclose it now after 10 years or 15 years of living in US? Like, do they not come back? Why did you not tell us in 10 years?
Okay, so there are two things here. FBAR, you can go back up to 6 years and okay. You ignorance, not ignorance. You don't know that there was no willful failure here. So you don't know that you can explain this to IRS. It's okay because I didn't know that I have to disclose. So that is okay. You can disclose it. And as I was saying, if it's a substantial amount, I recommend you to go back to the FBAR reporting for the last, you can go back up to 6 years. So you can at least go back for the last 2-3 years and start doing it and amend your tax return.
So
you
what
say
is
that? Yes.
Sorry, what is the substantial amount means? Like, can you give me a rough approximate or something?
Okay. If we say, like example, if you have maybe some $100 or $200 interest, it's okay. Start doing it at least now. But please note that every dollar has to be disclosed as a global income. If it's very small number, $50, $100, it's okay. But if you have some $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 as an interest income or rental income, please don't miss it. Go and amend your tax return. It's a very easy process. Just go back, include this there, and amend it. It's very easy. You can amend your tax returns for the last 3 years. So you do it whatever you can do in your hands, do it. So that IRS cannot come back and say that why you are not doing it. You say that when I came to know about this, I can go back up to 3 years. I opened 3 years tax return. I amended it. That's it.
Yeah. So, but we don't have any proofs or anything like that, except like bank deposits or something like that. Do I need to submit any?
Bank deposit, bank proof is enough.
Sure.
Thank you. And somebody was asking, is this being recorded, this session? Yes, it is being recorded, and we will upload to Tana YouTube channel later tomorrow. Okay.
One question.
Can you please post, excuse me, Srinivas Garu, can you please post the question in the chat room, because I have a lot of questions to ask. So I will go one by one.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. If someone landed in US on December 28th, 2019 on L1, but did not file any income tax return, what should be done now? Can we file with 2020?
Okay. So for 2019, correct, you said? December 20th, 2019.
Yeah, I think he landed on December 28th, 2019 on L1.
Okay, on L1. So I recommend you to file even 2019 also. You can file now. I recommend you to file 2019 and 2020 also.
Okay. Shall we get the record? Okay, that's fine. Yes, the recording will be available tomorrow on Tana YouTube channel. Is there a cap or upper limit for HELOC interest deduction? Is it 100K HELOC only or no limits?
Okay, there are no limits as long as you use the property, the HELOC loan for the home improvements. If you use it for some other purpose, then you cannot deduct as a deduction.
Okay. Is it good idea to pay off my home mortgage?
It's a very good question, but it's a financial decision. I'm happy to get into details with you. It depends on what is your, have you taken a minimum financial steps or not? I say it's the baby steps. You need to ensure that everything is taken care, then you can start paying mortgage loans in faster way. So you need a personal financial planning. If you can set up a 1 hour free session with us, we are happy to get into the details and we can guide you accordingly.
Okay, thank you. What refinance closing expenses are allowed to deduct?
If you buy any mortgage points, then they are allowed to deduct. So,
okay. What is the max allowable limit on all 401k, Roth plus traditional accounts for 2021?
Okay, you can contribute $19,500 for the 401k account, $6,000 for IRA account. These are the same rules even for the Roth 401k or Roth IRA. But you can split this. $19,500 you can split between Roth and traditional. Same IRA also you can split, but the maximum is $19,500 plus $6,000. That's it.
Okay. Only $300 allowed donation above the lines, irrespective of how your filing status is. Speaker wrongly mentioned $600 for married life file jointly.
Okay. No, I will explain that. This is the new rule introduced this year. Earlier, I was talking about above the line. Above the line. Above the line means it is not itemized tax return. Even standard filing tax return also, standard tax return filer also can claim charitable donation deductions only up to $600 for this year 2021. Earlier, before 2019, they were not able to deduct anything if they do any charitable donation. You can do charitable deduction, you can get charitable deduction only when you file itemized tax return. Standard tax return, nothing is eligible, but because of the COVID, for 2020, $300, for 2021, it's $600. So I stick to my statement.
Okay. And if funds are withdrawn last year from IRA, do we have to pay taxes or penalty?
Okay, the penalty is waived because of the COVID, and I assume that you have withdrawn because of the financial hardship or medical hardship at your home because of the COVID. But taxes have to be paid.
Okay. I have INC S Corp. I did not apply for PPP loan during round 1 in 2019. Applied in second round and received funds. Have not yet applied for forgiveness. Still I can apply for PPP round 2 based on reduction in income in 2020.
Okay, good question.
Yeah.
So you cannot, okay. Can you apply means answer is yes. What is the due date is March 31st, 2021. But the condition is you should use your PPP round 1 fund completely before you apply for PPP 2. If you think you can use the entire money PPP 1 funds before applying for the PPP 2 by March 31st, you can go and apply. If you meet the eligibility, you can apply, but you should use the funds.
Okay. Is there a limit to use HSA funds? If we cannot use, can we withdraw and pay taxes?
Health savings account, yes, you can do it, but I don't recommend to withdraw. Just roll it over to the next year.
Okay. I lost 30K at my 401k in the year 2020. How do I submit this loss in 2020 tax return?
Okay. If you get any capital gains or losses on your, or any other gains or losses in your retirement account, you don't have to include it in your tax returns. So there will be tax at the end of the when you are retired, when you withdraw money. So answering to your question, you don't need to show anything in your tax return for 2020.
So basically, he cannot claim the 401k losses on his tax return.
He cannot.
Yeah. So I had maxed out on my 401k in 2019 by June, and then the employer stopped contributing for the remaining year. What can be done if such a thing happens?
So if you max it out, then they will stop it. The maximum you can do is only 19,500. You cannot do more than 19,500.
If we contribute now in Roth, will it count for 2020 tax return?
Contribute where?
If we contribute now to Roth IRA, will it count for 2020 tax return?
Answer is yes. But when you contribute to the Roth, you don't get any tax deduction. Please note that. But you can do it for the last year now.
Okay. I am eligible for SCRP apart from 401k. It is new for me this year. Can you please explain whether it is useful to go for SCRP?
Okay, SEP IRA, definitely yes, it is useful because you will be saving flat taxes. You may be 35%, 45%, you will be saving it. I strongly recommend to go forward.
Okay. Please revise the limit for Roth IRA phase out. I'm not sure. Okay, we'll go over to the next question. What is the income limit to get tax reduction on traditional IRA if only one is earning income in family?
Okay, it was, I think it was around $75,000 approximately. I don't remember the exact number, but that was covered in one of the slides.
Okay. Should we open an S Corp if we have investment properties and getting rent, or just include in personal income?
Okay. S corporations are only for the operating companies. your real estate properties are as a passive incomes. So you cannot have S corporation for your rental income properties. So it has to be included in your individual tax returns for now.
Okay. Can you please share more information on S Corp versus LLC?
Oh, very good. So on LLC, if you make any money, maybe think $100,000. If you get $100,000 income net profit on your LLC, you need to pay 15.3% social security taxes on $100,000, and also you need to pay federal taxes, and you also need to pay state tax. If it is S corporation on $100,000 net income, it's a mandatory that you have to take some salary, maybe 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, based on that you can take it. The balance net profit in your business, you don't need to pay social security taxes, which is 15.3%. In my example, on $100,000, you take a salary of $50,000, you need to pay social security taxes on that. The balance $50,000, you don't need to pay 15.3% social security taxes, which is approximately $7,500 tax savings. So, but you need to, for S corporation, you need to pay federal taxes and state taxes, but you will be saving social security taxes, which is 15.3% on the net profit.
Okay.
Yes, Rajagar.
Yeah. Other Roth IRA funds we need to show during FA, FSA filing. I mean, declare. Do we need? I think the question is, do we need to declare the IRA, Roth IRA funds during FA, FSA filing?
FA, FSA, FA, FAFSA. Okay. Yep. Okay. Good question. You don't have to, because retirement contributions, retirement amounts are excluded when you do FAFSA reporting.
Other than W-2, what else goes under taxable salary, like IRS tax credit, employer offered COVID relief, WFH ergonomics relief, reimbursements, etc.
And apart from that, if you get any interest and dividends, any capital gain, or if you have done any withdrawals, retirement account withdrawals, like 401k withdrawal, IRA withdrawal, if you have done anything, all those are also taxable.
Okay. Somebody was asking, your calendar says no slots open.
So,
okay. And the next question is,
yep. Okay.
the next question is how to pay child if we have S Corp.
Okay. If we have an S corporation, it's a complete a complex process, which I don't want to cover now considering the shortage of the time. But you need to have a family management company, then only you can do it. Okay. So otherwise, you will be paying social security taxes for that.
Can we open HSA now, even if we have separate health insurance? Do we report our house in India as a FBAR? These are the two questions.
Okay. So actually, I don't know. Okay, I just now checking my calendar and it is working. I'm just sharing my link.
Maybe the slots are full. That's what they're
saying.
saying.
No. I just checked it and I just pinged my calendar link.
Okay.
And you can schedule a meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, can you repeat your last question?
Yeah. Can we open HSA now, even if we have separate health insurance?
HSA, yes, you can do it. But health insurance, you should have high deductible medical plan.
Okay. Only when you have high deductible plan, you can have HSA.
Yes, you are right.
Do we report our house in India as FBAR?
No, FBAR is only for the foreign financial accounts. Real estate properties are not included under foreign financial accounts definition.
Mm-hmm. I have opened an LLC being on H1B and got to know I need to close it. Will you be able to help me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Can you carry over margin interest from previous years due to capital losses if you take standard deduction?
Can you carry over? So can you repeat?
Yeah. Can you carry over margin interest from previous years?
Margin interest. I assume you are talking about capital gains. If that is the case, no, you cannot do it. Standard deduction, standard tax return is different. Capital gains are different. So you cannot roll it over margin interest losses.
Okay. If we invested in a startup in India for $50K or something, how to disclose?
Okay, it's a part of the FBAR, and it's also Form 8938 is applicable. And there are some other forms also you need to do when you hold stock in any international companies.
Mhm.
So there is a separate requirement is required. The support reporting is required. You can reach out to me offline. I'm happy to guide you on what are the forms you have to do.
Okay. And the next question is FBAR submitted on 2016 after then anytime I don't have balance more than 10K.
Then it's okay.
I think they submitted in 2016 FBAR, and after that they don't have any balance more than 10K. So do we need to worry about it?
No, you don't need to worry. You don't need to report. Nothing to worry.
Can mortgage amount be treated as paradigm if working at client location?
Mortgage amount can be treated as
Paradigm if working at client location.
okay. I assume you're talking about home office expenses. Might be working at. I think your question is not very clear. If it is a home office expenses and if you are on W2, you will not be able to deduct any of those expenses.
Okay. Can we deduct medical expenses incurred in India for parents as part of itemized deductions?
No.
What can we do for unemployment income?
It is a taxable. You get 1099 from the government that has to be disclosed in your tax return.
Okay. From what I know, PPP has state tax implications. Is that true?
Okay. 95% of the states follow federal tax rules. So, but there are some couple of states are not following the federal state guidelines. So, federal guidelines. So, I recommend you to go and check with your state rules on that. But I know that there are a couple of states which are not following federal guidelines.
Can I withdraw 401k or IRA fund for house down payment?
From 401k account, you can withdraw money up to $50,000 for the primary home purchase for the first time.
Any tax savings for unemployment income?
For unemployment, no. No.
Like
No tax.
FBAR, how far back we file Indian taxes from here? No income, but dividends and savings interests.
Okay, you can go back up to 3 years.
Okay. My spouse is on H4 and she has SSN, but never worked. Based on this, we got stimulus checks with SSN for both of us. Is it okay?
Yes, that is okay.
Can you use HSA funds after you retire for medical expenses?
Yes.
Can we contribute to HSA now and claim tax reduction for 2020? If yes, till what date we can do it?
Okay, till April 15th you can do it. Yes, you can claim deduction.
For the last year?
Yes.
I opened HSA account and contributed when I am single. Now I am not eligible to contribute to HSA. Can I use that money to pay for medical expenses for my kid and my wife? I file married joint filing.
Answer is yes.
Can we contribute to 401k and SEP IRA in the same year?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, those are the questions so far. I closed the chat session due to the time limitations. Please, thank you all for joining. Thank you, Anil Garu. Thank you for joining. And thank you, Tana Leadership, for providing this opportunity to do this tax awareness webinar with Anil Grandhi. And Anil Grandhi Garu posted his calendar link here. If you guys have any questions or any advice from him, please schedule an appointment with him. And once again, thank you all. Thank you for joining the session.
Thank you very much, Raja Garu. Thanks to Thana for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you for the team. It's very helpful.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Anil. Very informative.
Thank you, sir. And reach out to me if you have anyone has any questions. I am there for you. Just
Thank you,
so
Anil.
much for
Thank you,
your
Raja
time. It
garu.
was very informative.
Thank you very much, Anil garu.
Thank you so much, Raja
I
garu.
appreciate your
Thank you,
time.
Anil garu. Good luck,
Thank
Anil.
you.
Thank you.
Thank